vision on it.
Really. Let's go back in your career, and you look back at the Immaculate Reception. Is this the best play you've ever seen?
The Immaculate Reception? Well, I don't think so. It's one of the more interesting plays in the history of the National Football League. But to answer your question, literally, I didn't see it.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, I heard it.
Yeah.
I heard it, but I didn't see it. But it is known as one of the 10 best plays in the history of the NFL. I'm glad we were part of it. In the next 10 or 15, 20 years, maybe it won't be, but to Pittsburghers, understandably so, you know, it will always be the greatest play in Steeler history.
Of all the Super Bowl titles that you've won, which one would be the most special for you?
Brad, I always think about Super Bowl IX, which was our first one, because of Mr. Rooney and the suffering the family had gone through for some 40 years. Super Bowl IX was the hardest, probably. Super Bowl X, probably a little more difficult because it was a back-to-back Super Bowl. 13 was probably the easiest. 14th was the hardest. And so the hardest one to win was the last one. The most memorable one is the first one.
You look at St. Louis, do you consider this a football town?
No.
Not at all.
No, I don't think football people do. That's really not fair to the people of St. Louis, because they're known as a baseball town. Jacksonville is a football town. Charlotte is a sports town. I think the owner here, Bidwell, had a lot to do with how the people felt about their Cardinal franchise. Had they had a different owner here, possibly people would look at it a little bit differently. But this throughout the football circles is not known as a football town.
Do you think that's just because of the reputation of Bidwell?
Well, yeah. You know, I think it's a lot to do with Bidwell. I don't think people didn't like him, and so I think it has a lot to do with Bidwell, and the fact that they didn't support the football team when the team was struggling, and which was for a lot of years, really. And it's kind of like you don't miss your water till the well runs dry, and I think that's kind of what happened here. Football in St. Louis is something that should happen. I mean, I think the NFL needs to come here. This year, with their ownership, the way it was set up, with the problems they were having there, I think that was, all of a sudden, strikes started going against them. They got a beautiful facility going up, and I find it very hard to believe that in time someone won't want to move here and be a part of that new stadium and the city. This could very well, I mean, any city in America is a football city. I think they're all sports towns. That's why I think you got to have great owners, and they just, I don't think, had a great owner.
Last question: do you think the Rams or maybe any other teams over there would be coming here? You're an insider.
Yeah, and I'm not really an insider. I know there's talk about the Rams looking at Baltimore, and there will probably, it could be, of all the teams in the National Football League, the one team that would want to make a move and look, because they're not drawing, is the Rams. Now, how would they fit in here, I don't know. But that would be the one team, with the exception of New England, which has new ownership now, and they're going to stay in Boston. But I would think the only team out there really to move, potentially move, would be the Rams.
So that is all-time great Terry Bradshaw. Thanks a lot.
Brad, thanks, man.
Thank you.
My pleasure.